This is Yoda for Team Evil Geniuses, bringing you another video with Nerdstomper.com. This is going to be the last in a three-part series on Flint Beastwood, and it's going to be commented play on the mid to late game. The first video was general strategy for Flint Beastwood, including item build and skill build, and the second video was commented play of the early game. This replay is actually from the same game as the second video. It's just a little bit later in the game. This game I've chosen to go for Assassin's Shroud because of the composition of the enemy team and just the way the early game went. I wasn't really having that much trouble just like staying away, and I decided that the extra damage that I got from Assassin's Shroud would be more useful than Jowler's Bane. The other team also didn't really have that many stuns, and they actually had a lot of slows, which Assassin's Shroud is actually really good against. Basically, as soon as they throw their first slow spell, you just use it, and you're almost always going to get away. This game, I found that the skill level is actually also a little bit lower than a normal game, so I decided Assassin's Shroud would be pretty much like a lot better than it normally would, since in lower level games, not only are they, as I mentioned in the first video, not only are they less likely to buy Dust of Revelation, they're also it's just much better at solo killing. As you saw there, I basically just used it, and then I found a hag that was 2 shots from death who didn't expect it, so he died. That also put me in a great position to kill an engineer who was also next to him. Basically, Shroud is, the point I was trying to say is Shroud is really good when you're far ahead, since you by yourself are able to do like a lot of damage, and Shroud is really good when you're acting alone, since it allows you to outplay in a lot of like 1vx situations. So that's why I got Shroud. Jowler's Bane is basically by far the best. I mean, I've said this so many times. It's just the best item in general for range agility heroes, so I'm definitely going to get that next, since it's so good, obviously. The other team kind of paused here, so I'm not going to make you sit through that in this replay, so I'm going to fast forward. Here I'm just walking around looking for the rune. Obviously, since I'm kind of low, if a regen spawns, which it did, is great. And if another rune spawns, I was probably just going to go to heal to the fountain and not use that rune for healing. The reason behind that is that the rune is probably going to be really useful for the next fight, and I want to save it for the next fight. I don't want to waste it just so I can get the healing and not have to go heal. Because having that extra rune advantage in a fight, like an extra haste, illusion, or double damage, is going to be really, really effective in a team fight. And when it's bottled, you can even like save it for the team fight. Invisible isn't that useful for me since I already have Assassin's Shroud, so if I got that, then I probably would do what I'm doing now and just use the bottle to farm. But really, if it's at this point in the game and you get a haste, illusion, or double damage rune, you should really not be using it and then going to farm. You should be bottling it and then going to heal and asking your team to go in a team fight, since you have an advantage from that rune. Anyway, here you're just going to see why Assassin's Shroud is so good against a team that doesn't really have stuns, as mostly slows. So here, my team really only has 3 heroes, since 2 of them I guess didn't get the memo and are in middle. But basically I can just keep hitting the tower, and the other team can't really do anything about it. Like if they go on me, then I can just Shroud away, and I can just hit the tower from long range. Obviously the tower can't hit me since I'm not raging it. But basically, Shroud makes it so that a team that doesn't have stuns really just has no way to even kill you, because all you have to do is just press Shroud as soon as they get close. So it looks like the rest of the team's actually got here now. So we're gonna start a push. A technique that when you're playing Flint and you're pushing, it's really simple. You just stay out of tower range and just keep attacking the tower until the other team decides to initiate. That puts the pressure on the other team to initiate, so that when they go on you, they're going to be more clumped, more clumped and more committed. Whereas your team can pick their positioning. Their team has to like go on basically you, since you're going to be the only one in vision, and that gives you a lot more selection in your positioning in team fights. Here basically, I just kept staying maximum range from the tower, and obviously they felt the need to initiate, and I just kept staying where I was, since I was obviously out of range of anything. Notice how I'm just basically, since I'm not in range of anything, I can just freely wreak havoc by just right-clicking whatever I want in the fight, and since they can't focus me since I have Shroud, that's all I gotta do. Since Flint's like damage output, if he's not getting focused, is already pretty high. It's not that high without items, but once you have items, it gets really high. So since I have I guess some items, my damage output's pretty high. So all I gotta do is just stay in the back and right click. If the other team had like some stuns, it'd be a little bit more interesting since I'd have to like be afraid if someone stunned me, then I might actually die. But since they don't, all I gotta do is buy a shroud and sit in the back. And if they go on me, then they commit to me and I just press shroud and I escape, and then they all die. And if they don't go on me, then I just right click on death and they're still all dead. Now obviously this tactic sounds like it'd be good on any hero, but on Flint Beastwood in particular, it's good because of his long range. Since you can attack from long range, it basically means that if they're actually going on you, then they definitely have to commit. And committing to someone that has a shroud is obviously terrible. But for other heroes that have a shorter range than Flint, they don't actually have to commit too much to force you to shroud away, which is why shroud is not as effective on other heroes. I guess a lesson to learn from what just happened is definitely don't get too cocky if you find yourself ahead in the game. There, obviously, I just was playing way too far up. Started spamming my first spell and canceling it just to make some cool cool visual effects, which is obviously not something conducive to winning. So I got justice and killed for my cockiness. But honestly, this game is not really that close since they're down a set of racks, and we have pretty much unstoppable late game with Flint Beastwood. I'm even gonna have Geometer's Bane soon, so that's gonna be really unstoppable. Even though Geometer's Bane isn't really like a late game item, don't get me wrong. Geometer's Bane and Assassin's Shroud is not enough items to have just for the late game. You need more than that when you're going to late game. You need at least one big item. Those two items, if that's all you have, you're not going to be doing enough damage to anyone in the late game. But in all honesty, this game doesn't look like it's going to get there. I think my team is like 4v5ing them when I'm not even there. But now that I've TP'd to the scene, the fight's going to end relatively quickly, and I think we're just going to push and end it soon. Notice there that I waited to look. I looked at the flow of battle and just tried to figure out which way it was going before I decided on which tower I was going to TP on. Make sure that it's clear which tower you're supposed to be TPing on before you actually pick a tower. Since if you TP on the wrong one, then obviously you have to walk further to the fight and you might be more out of position, etc. For this game, since I'm not really having any trouble stopping them from focusing me, I probably am going to want a wing bow, since that is the item that gives Flint Beastwood the most damage, especially if you have Geometer's Bane. So that's what's pretty much basically what I'm going to get. Obviously, it gives him the most damage because more attack speed means more procs of your second skill, which I guess not even not only more damage, it's also more permastun effect. So yeah, I'd definitely build a wing bow in this game, even though I don't think we're gonna actually get to it. When you have a shroud, one important thing to do is if you're nowhere near a fight, then you can use it just for the move speed boost. I know it sounds like something small, but that difference is like the difference between a great player and a good player. You really need to be just completely efficient with all of your plays, and using Assassin's Shroud to like just move quickly between places is one of those things. Anyway, our team is really far ahead, so I'm going to be able to pick off this engineer solo with Assassin's Shroud. He pretty much just drops if I attack him with the Shroud and then just split and use my spells. So that's how I'm going to kill him. When you have Assassin's Shroud, a lot of times solo kills like that will just fall in your lap, especially if you're over level. So after that, since we just picked off one of their key teamfight heroes, it's going to be time to push bottom. See there, even though he has Dust, just because he doesn't have a hard stun, instead he has a slow, I'm still able to escape with Assassin's Shroud. So that's why you want Assassin's Shroud against any team that doesn't have a stun. Not only that, he kind of committed, which gave my team enough time to get there and I guess swap him in a range to finish him off. So now with 2 down, this is going to be super easy. I really don't approve of the way they're just jumping on me here. I guess they thought my stuff was on cooldown or something, so they thought they could charge in. But obviously my Shroud was not on cooldown, so I just used Shroud and escaped. And now I am in a wonderful position to just start killing everything. when you shroud and your team is fighting, it's important, even if you're low HP, it's important not to like just ditch the fight completely. You need to get to your maximum range and then start contributing to the fight if your team is fighting without you. So there, obviously, I shrouded and then went to an unexpected place and started attacking once my team engaged. Since if they're focusing your team, you don't really have to worry about getting focused. Especially from at maximum range, they're gonna have to disengage to fight you. There, obviously, we got a little bit careless and got hat-tricked by this completely underfarmed engineer, and that probably shouldn't have. We probably should have played him a little more carefully. Hellbringer probably should have been bottom instead of pushing top by himself. But honestly, it doesn't really matter. Playing Flint Beastwood, I'm super farmed, and they're down Rex. So all that's going to happen next is we actually do a proper push, and they lose. So I'm not going to make you sit through that. I think you've seen enough of Flint Beastwood. So once again, this is Yoda from Team Evil Geniuses, bringing you this video with Nerdstomper.com. Thanks for watching.